Hello everyone, this is part 7 of What If Naruto Was the King of Gambling, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist. To see more, comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. 106. Naruto said, standing next to Jiraiya as they watched Tsunade accept the title of Hokage. What? Jiraiya asked and traced Naruto's line of sight to see him staring at Tsunade's BS. 106 centimeters. Naruto said, making Jiraiya chuckle before looking down at the crowd. While Tsunade gave her little speech, Naruto and Jiraiya kept themselves from getting too bored by pointing out various girls' B-sizes, earning them both a whack on the head from Anko, who proceeded to drag Naruto home with her. Anko, we need to talk, Naruto said as they sat in the living room with a saucer of sake in hand. Anko asked and raised an eyebrow. About what? Naruto said and sighed when he saw Anko's blank expression. The woman who came with me here after the poker tournament. Oh, that blonde woman. What about her? She seems to be in love with me. And did you tell her that you were seeing me? Anko asked, getting a nod from Naruto. Yeah, she said that she wouldn't mind sharing, he said, making Anko put a hand on her chin. Well, I don't think I'd mind sharing either, she said, making Naruto's eyes widen. And think of what we could do in bed with an extra player on the team. Naruto's mind immediately started filling with mental pictures of him, Mai and Anko in every sual position he'd ever heard of. Needless to say, he had to pinch his nose in order to stop himself from passing out on the count of severe blood loss. Besides, Anko said with her eyes closed in thought, you're the last of your clan. Tsunade-sama can't produce any more children, so it'll be up to you to revive the clan. According to the clan resurrection law, you need to have at least 3 wives, she said, making Naruto choke on his sake. T3. Where the hell am I supposed to get 3 wives? Well, you know for sure that you got one, Anko said with a smile as she leaned her head against his shoulder. And that Mai could be a possible one. So, you only have one left. My life seems to be getting more and more complicated for each passing day, Naruto said with a sigh and took another sip of his sake. Anko shrugged. Live with it. So, Naruto said, sitting in Tsunade's new office with Jiraiya and Tsunade. I have 2 questions. Question number 1, how did you 2 hook up, and 2, why wasn't my father told of it? Jiraiya grinned. Well, I guess I can answer the first question. It was a beautiful winter night in Mizu no Kuni. Tsunade was a little cold and I figure we both got drunk, Tsunade said simply after bashing Jiraiya's head into the floor. None of us can remember what really happened, though the L thinks he remembers it. And what about Dad? Oh, he knew. We told him when he became Chunin, when he was old enough to defend himself from anyone who might hold a grudge against us, though I think he suspected it all along, Jiraiya said as Tsunade got up and walked over to the Yondime's picture on the wall. She bit her thumb and swiped some blood over it, making it disappear with a puff to reveal a safe. After opening it, Tsunade handed over a bundle of cloth. What's this? Naruto asked as he took the cloth. Folding it out revealed that it was an almost exact replica of the Yondime's coat, only it had the text, Will of Fire, on the back instead of 4th, and it had long sleeves. Minato wanted you to have that, Tsunade said as Naruto took off his own coat in order to put on his new one. He said that he wanted you to look like him. The coat has a special seal that adjusts to your body size. Even if you grow 5 more feet, the coat would still fit you. Naruto smiled and turned to Jiraiya. Oh, by the way, for also keeping the fact that you're my grandparents from me, you'll have to teach me, not only my father's jutsus, but your own as well. Sorry, no can do, brat, Jiraiya said, making Naruto raise an eyebrow. In order for you to learn all my techniques, you need to go through the training I went through. I don't want to learn senjutsus yet, Naruto said with a grin. Only ninjutsu and taijutsu. Very well, Jiraiya said with an identical grin. But I don't know what Sarutobi-sensei would say if I just stole you from him. Well, let's go talk to him then, Naruto said and disappeared in a swirl of cards. Meanwhile, in Anko's and Naruto's apartment, Anko was sitting in front of Mai, who just sat there. So, what did you bring me here for? Mai asked. I've heard that you are interested in Naruto-kun, Anko said with narrowed eyes. Well, yeah, I've already told him, so I'm not gonna bother hiding it from you. Did you know that, according to the law, Naruto-kun must have 3 wives? Anko asked, making Mai's eyes widen. No, I didn't, she responded, though she was chuckling in her mind. Yes, I did. Do you really love him? Naruto-kun has suffered a lot in his life. I don't want to see him get hurt again, so I ask you. Do you love him? Yes, Mai said truthfully, getting a grin from Anko. Good, she exclaimed, thinking about what she could put Naruto through when he came home and met the two. Naruto, who had just started talking to Sarutobi with Jiraiya next to him, suddenly shuddered. What's wrong, Naruto? Sarutobi asked. I just had a bad feeling, as if death was hovering over me. Naruto said with a bead of sweat rolling down his face. Anko must have gotten an idea. Well, Naruto-kun, I think Jiraiya could teach you techniques not even I could teach you. Sarutobi said, puffing on his pipe, all the while trying to push down the red blush that was threatening to come up, thinking about what kind of ideas Anko could have had. No, Jiraiya said, shaking his head. I will not teach him my senjutsus. I'm not good enough at using them to teach yet. Only the toads of Mount Myobokuzen are good enough to teach those jutsus. Quote. Toads can teach, Naruto asked with a sweet drop in the back of his head. I thought all they were good for was slicing, drinking and smoking. You'd think that, wouldn't you? Jiraiya asked with a grin. So, anyway, Naruto said and turned to Sarutobi. I wanna L my eyebrow, he said, making Sarutobi choke on his pipe, literally. He was so shocked that he actually sucked his pipe down into his tea, choking on the smoke and burning his upper lip as well. What? Sarutobi shouted once he'd gotten the pipe out of his mouth. No way. There's just no way that I'm letting you defile yourself like that. Sarutobi-sensei, Naruto said with a sigh. You've already let me get a tattoo. That's just as defiling as a piercing. I never let you get a tattoo, Naruto. Sarutobi said with a glare. You knocked me out with your damnable Orioke. Oh yeah, Naruto exclaimed while Jiraiya got an idea. Hey, Sensei, I'm actually Naruto's grandfather, so it should be me who approves of such things. But, seeing as you've practically been his grandfather, I'm gonna leave it to you. Though, if you deny it, I'm not gonna give you my latest Ikarikas for free. You'll have to pay full price, he said, making Sarutobi's eyes widen. Ikarika, Nurse's Edition. No romance, no plot. Just 3 volumes of non-stop hospital smut. I must have it, Sarutobi thought with a trickle of blood coming out of his nose. Fine. Go get your eyebrow, lips, NS, whatever you want LD. Give me those books, he exclaimed, making Naruto grin. Thanks, Sensei, he said and disappeared in a swirl of cards. You know, Jiraiya said and handed over the 3 volumes of Ikarika, Nurse's Edition to Sarutobi. You just showed that you care more for my books than for Naruto's well-being. I know, Sarutobi said as he grabbed the books. But he knows that I'd rather torch all my Ikarika books than let him or lose a limb or something serious like that. In the Konoha tattoo and needle parlor, Naruto appeared in a swirl of leaves in front of a bald man wearing a white tank top, jeans and sneakers. Hey, Amy, Miami Inc. I just got permission to get my eyebrow and my ear LD. Naruto said with a grin, making Amy raise an eyebrow. Hey, Naruto, Amy said as he took out his needle. Are you sure your condition is gonna let you L your eyebrow? I mean, won't it just heal? Not right away, so it'll be just like with everyone else. The hole will heal around the metal. Right, Amy said with a nod as he walked up to Naruto. I would say something like, take a deep breath, this is gonna hurt, but I'm guessing you've gone through worse pains than this, he said and grabbed onto Naruto's left ear. Yeah. Just a few days ago, I got my back LD by a kunai. Just that is far worse than this. Not to mention all the other pains I've had to suffer through. Like what? Amy asked as he quickly, and painfully, pushed the needle through Naruto's ear. Well, there was this one time when Anko decided to try some S&M. I still have some hard time healing the wounds on my back from the whipping. Ouch, Amy said and put a solid gold ring in Naruto's ear. Alright, next, the eyebrow. Which one do you want? Left or right? Take the right. Otherwise, I'd feel unbalanced. Naruto said as Amy took out his plier that he proceeded to stick to the far right side of the blonde's eyebrow. What's it called? You know, the pliers that people use to hold up the skin, that's supposed to be LD. Say Ika, Amy said as he got ready to L the skin. Naruto took a deep breath. Ika, he exclaimed as the needle went through his eyebrow. That hurt a lot more than I'd expected it to. I know, we have a lot of nerves in the eyebrow, Amy said as he took out 4 items from his desk. So, gold ring, silver ring, gold rod or silver rod. Naruto, still with the needle in his eyebrow, put a hand on his chin. Take the gold rod. Meanwhile, in Naruto's and Anko's apartment. He's taking an awful lot of time, isn't he? Mai asked with a sigh as they waited for Naruto. Yeah, Anko said as she came out of the kitchen with a bottle of sake. There's only one thing we can do to pass the time. Drink. 5 hours later, Naruto returned home to find Anko passed out in the living room, on the table with an empty bottle of sake in her hand, while Mai was passed out on the couch, also with an empty bottle of sake in her hand. 2 other bottles laid empty on the floor, long since emptied. Naruto noticed that there was an ace mark on every bottle. His eye twitched. They drank all my sake. He thought and walked up to Anko. Anko, oi, wake up. Anko was forcefully awoken by Naruto kicking the table, knocking it and her over in the process. What the? She asked as she looked around, only to spot the pissed off face of Naruto. Naruto-kun, what's wrong? You. Naruto growled with vengeance gleaming in his eyes. You drank all my sake. Anko stared at the bottle in her hand before shaking it slightly. There's still a few drops left in this. Here, she said and held out the bottle, making Naruto shake his head with a sigh. No thanks. Well, we wouldn't have had to drink all your sake if you'd come home sooner. We had all sorts of things planned for you. What were you doing, anyway? Anko shouted, not noticing the new piercings. I got some piercings and 2 new tattoos. Naruto said and showed the right side of his chest where the kanji for fire was tattooed and under it was the kanji for oil and under that was the mark of the Senju clan. Then I went into the back with Amy and won all my money back. So, technically, I got the piercings and the tattoos for free. Now, what's Mai doing here? Oh, we've been talking. Anko said and got up. And we've decided to share you, she said with a sugar-sweet smile. And you're going to take us as your wives. Naruto just stared at Anko for a second before grabbing the sake bottle and swallowing the few last drops. Wives? You've decided it so soon. I mean, I hardly know Mai. Anko shrugged. So, take her on a date, she said and woke the sleeping blonde. Hey, Mai. Naruto is here. Mai mumbled for a while before realizing what the snake user had just said. Ah, welcome back, Naruto-kun. Boy, do we have something special planned for you? She said and suddenly glomped the poor boy with Anko following. And I need one more. Naruto thought with anime tears flowing down his face. Hey, Naruto. Jiraiya shouted the next day, knocking on the door to Naruto's and Anko's apartment. Wake up. I have news. The door opened to reveal a sleepy-eyed Naruto, wearing only a pair of black ninja pants, who looked worse for wear. Ero Oji-san. What are you doing here? He asked, making Jiraiya's eye twitch. Don't call me that, brat. At least call me Oji-san. Anyway, I have news. News? Naruto asked, rubbing his eyes. And what news were important enough to wake me up? It's about your mom, Jiraiya said, making Naruto immediately wake up. What about her? Well, I don't quite know how to tell you this, Jiraiya said, awkwardly scratching the back of his head. It seems like Minato put another bun in her oven before she left. She now lives in a small town on the border of Hai no Kuni, with your 14-year-old sister, Misao. Naruto just stared at Jiraiya for a while before closing the door, leaving the hermit outside while the blonde put his clothes on, left a note for Mai and Anko and disappeared in a swirl of cards, only to reappear in Tsunde's office where said blonde Hokage was cursing the evils of paperwork. Bar-chan. Naruto shouted as he slammed his hand into the desk. I need to leave the village for a short amount of time and I'm not gonna take no for an answer. Tsunade sighed. You're going to see Kushina, aren't you? Yes, Naruto said with a nod as Tsunade handed over a piece of paper. I've already granted you a month's free vacation. I knew that you'd want to go see her the moment you heard of her. If she doesn't see you as a demon, try to bring her here. I'd want to meet my granddaughter as well. I will, Naruto said and took the paper before disappearing in a swirl of cards again. Naruto appeared at the north gate with a sigh as he summoned Chu and Han. Hey, guys, you wanna go on a trip with me? TS. Where to, Naruto-kun? Han asked while Chu huffed. Well, I don't wanna go. There are a lot more things that are more fun than going on a trip with Mr. Blonde Win a lot here. We're going to a small town just north of here, at the Hi-no-Kuni border. Naruto said, completely ignoring Chu. We're going to see my mother. Chu's ears perked on that. Your mother? Well, this I gotta see. Fine, brat. I'll go. I'll come too, Naruto-kun. Han said sweetly and climbed onto and hung on Naruto's left shoulder while Chu hung onto the right, like Yashiro hangs on Kenpachi's shoulder. You know, Naruto said with a sigh. Both of you together are kinda heavy. Think positive, Naruto-kun. Han said getting a nod from Chu. Yeah, think of it as training. Now, mush. I'm not a sled hound. Naruto said as Chu slapped the back of his head. I don't care, brat. I said mush. The bear said and lapped Naruto's head again. Naruto sighed with a smile on his face and took off running with two grinning bears on his shoulders. Kushina's life was, all in all, normal. She lived healthily, worked at the local store, had friends and a beautiful daughter who'd, fortunately, managed to grow up without having to be a ninja. She had a nice little house just outside of town with a convenient, natural hot spring just behind the house. As she sat in the store, she suddenly felt a tingle in the back of her head. Something important is gonna happen, she thought before shrugging it off as nothing. Uzumaki, unofficially Namika's, Misaro's life was also normal. She stood at 5 feet 3 inches tall, had long, blonde hair that reached her lower back and had emerald green eyes. She wore a simple, blue kimono with sakura leaves adorning the right sleeve. She, like her mother, ate healthily and worked part-time at the store to help her mom. She was sitting at home, drinking tea, when she felt a tingle in the back of her head. I feel that, something important is gonna happen. Naruto was running through the thick forest of Hi-no-Kuni, feeling more and more excited with each and every step closer to Kishimoto town. I'm calling it that in honor of the man who's changed my life. Naruto suddenly stopped and jumped back when he heard a slight whistling sound. At the spot where he stood a second earlier, a giant shuriken embedded itself into the ground. HN, came a voice from behind him. I figured it would take more than that to destroy you. Konoha's card shark. I see you've had a change of wardrobe. Naruto turned around and saw a boy standing at 5 feet 7 inches with green hair tied in a ponytail that reached down between his shoulder blades. He had raven black eyes and a scar that went from the corner of his right eye down to the right corner of his mouth. He wore black shinobi sandals, black shinobi pants, a purple t-shirt with a black leather vest over it. His high-tie 8 was tied to his right bicep where symbol for Kumo was with a long scratch going through it. Hey, you're that guy from Wave, the one who was with Zabuza. Naruto exclaimed getting a nod from the boy. Indeed. The boy said and bowed. My name is Duran, Forest. Pleased to meet you, Uzumaki Naruto. I'm sure we could have been friends, had you not decided to make Zabuza-sama your enemy. I don't remember making Zabuza my enemy. Naruto said calmly. We were just playing on different teams on that one mission. Yes, but you pissed him off. Duran said and placed his hand in a half-ram seal. Now, I'm afraid we must fight. Naruto's eyes widened as a rock spike shot out of the ground behind him. It would have LD his heart, had he not dodged while his bears puffed away on his order. Bastard. Naruto growled and tossed a card charged with QB chakra at Duran, who jumped out of the way. Misao had just finished her tea when a knock was heard on the door. When she opened it, she saw a boy, who looked like a girl, wearing a greenish-blue kimono standing there with a sweet smile on his face. Uzumaki-san, the boy said with a bow of his head. I'm Haku. I'm afraid I'm here to KU. Misao had just stared with wide eyes before taking off, going past Haku, who sighed before calmly following. Meanwhile, Kushina was walking home when the road was covered with a thick mist. Konoha's Scarlet Rose. I can just say that it's going to be an honor to fight you, came a voice through the mist. I hope your skills haven't dulled. What? Kushina asked with narrowed eyes. Why do you wish to fight me? There's no bounty on my head. That's true, came the voice. But your child has enraged me. For that, you must as well. What could Misao have done to? Kushina thought with wide eyes before, purely out of old reflexes, dodging the swing of a giant Zanbatsu. Hey, Juran-san, Naruto said as he stood 20 feet away from Juran, who was panting slightly. Where's Zabuza and that other kid? Zabuza-sama and Haku-san have other objectives. I can assure you that they all involve you. Naruto only had time to raise an eyebrow before a girl's screaming was heard from behind him. He glared at Juran with narrowed eyes. You wouldn't. A scared warrior attacks neither mind nor soul. Juran said with a grin. He attacks the heart. Keika-san. Nei-chan. Naruto shouted in realization before taking out 5 decks of cards. I guess I'll have to finish you off quickly then, he said and placed the 5 stacked decks on the ground. Naruto went through a long chain of seals before slamming his palm onto the cards, pushing them down into the ground. Ninpu, Naya Kurokuju Kuruta no Mai. He shouted as the cards shot up around Juran and formed a dome. These cards will now suck your chakra until you S from chakra exhaustion. Have fun. Naruto left Juran to his fate and sped off towards where the scream came from. Misao was running through the forest. Haku was just toying with her. He just appeared in front of her whenever he wanted. Please, Uzumaki-san, stay still so we can do this nice and easy. I don't want to get too rough on you. Haku said as he once again appeared in front of the terrified Misao. He was just about to lodge his senbon into her head when a card suddenly came flying through the forest. Haku dodged just enough for the card to miss his T, only managing to create a small cut on his N. You know, it's not nice, chasing a defenseless woman around like that, Naruto said as he walked into the clearing they were in. Misao's eyes widened when she saw him. Spiky, blonde hair, white coat and blue eyes. To-san. Naruto-kun. Haku said as he stared at Naruto, who just glared at him coldly. I thought Juran-san was supposed to take care of you. Oh, he's busy right now. Naruto said calmly as Juran's scream was heard throughout the forest. He's just about to S from chakra exhaustion. Or I could just, he said and put his hand in a half-ram seal. Katsu. Juran was panting. He didn't have enough chakra left to attempt an escape. What was he to do? Just then, the cards started glowing. What the? Was all Juran could say before the cards closed in on him and exploded on contact, sending a violent shockwave throughout the forest with the power of the explosion. What the? Kushina asked as she dodged yet another swipe from the giant cleaver. What's wrong, Konoha's Scarlet Angel? Zabuza asked with a grin. This is not the woman I've heard stories about. What's happened to you? He asked as he appeared in front of the now wide-eyed woman. It's over. Kushina barely had time to react when the giant cleaver came down upon her. You tried to hurt my sister, Naruto said with a glare so cold that it could freeze fire. That's unforgivable. Sister? Misao asked, totally clueless. Naruto thought with a twitch of his eye. I used up too much chakra with that last attack. I don't want to have to use my Oni Juan in front of Misao, F it. He thought as he activated his Oni Juan. Black flame-like markings spread over his face as he felt a new and powerful surge of chakra flowing through him. Now we play. Naruto disappeared, only to reappear behind Haku, delivering a powerful backhand to the boy, sending him flying. Not enough, Naruto shouted and blurred away. He appeared in front of the flying Haku where he proceeded to deliver an uppercut to his jaw, launching him into the air before the blonde once again blurred away. Naruto appeared behind Haku in the air where he grabbed the boy, keeping him in an iron grip as they stopped in the air and plummeted headfirst towards the ground. This is something I learned from the Azure Beast of Konoha. Is that what Guy calls himself? Naruto shouted as they started spinning. Misao could only watch as the two plummeted towards the ground at an extremely high speed before hitting the ground, causing a minor earthquake. Naruto sighed as he came out of the crater where the lifeless Haku was buried to his waist under the ground. Nei-chan, Naruto said as he looked at the immobile Misao. I know this is hard for you to comprehend, but I'm your brother and right now we need to get to our mom faster than fast, he said and turned around. Now, hop on. The stunned Misao complied without a word. S. Kushina thought as she held a hand over the gaping wound in her shoulder. I was barely able to dodge that one. Why did I have to stop training? I could have trained Misao as well, but no. I wanted to raise her in a world without violence. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. Zabuza said as he once again appeared in front of her. It's over, he shouted and swung again. A sudden gust of wind blew away the mist as something stopped his blade. Looking up, Zabuza saw Naruto, with flame markings covering his face, standing in front of him, blocking his Zanbatsu with a kunai. The boy sighed. Yeah, it seems that I made it in time, he said as Misao got off his back to hug her mom. I'll talk to you later. I'm just going to take care of this eyebrow-less, overcompensating freak. Zabuza was too pissed off about the remark to notice the stomp kick that suddenly connected with his stomach, sending him skidding backwards before coming to a stop 10 feet away. That hurt, brat. Zabuza growled and gestured for the markings. What's up with those things? Decided to destroy your face with tattoos. And why hasn't Juran or Haku already taken care of you? Oh, these? Naruto asked with a grin. No, this is just a little upgrade. And since you threatened my family, I'll show it to you firsthand. By the way, Haku-san and Juran-san are already S. Naruto blurred out of view and appeared above Zabuza preparing an axe kick. Zabuza raised his Zanbatsu to block the incoming leg. The metal groaned as the foot connected with it, threatening to break it. As soon as he landed, Naruto quickly followed up with a sweeping kick that Zabuza jumped over, making Naruto smirk. Just as planned, he thought and grabbed Zabuza's feet while the man was in the air. What the? Zabuza thought as Naruto started spinning. Oh, Misao. Kushina said, staring at the now spinning blonde. Who is that? I don't know. He said that he was my brother and that you're his mother, but he SD, didn't he? Naruto. Kushina said with wide eyes. Is that Naruto? Naruto grinned as he let go of Zabuza, sending him flying into a nearby tree. He sped after the man and drop-kicked him in the chest, landing in a handstand. Zabuza growled and attempted a helmet breaker, but Naruto jumped out of the way while taking 2 dice out of his pocket and throwing them at Zabuza, who stared wide-eyed as Naruto formed 3 hand seals. Bird, snake, tiger. He thought with a grin. Ninpu, Kibaku Choen. The dice were just an inch away from Zabuza's face when they exploded. Think like what happens in Spider-Man 3 when Harry's bomb explodes next to his face. It goes in slow motion like that. The shockwave was massive. It blew Kushina and Misao off their feet while Naruto just stood there calmly with a raised eyebrow. I guess I put too much chakra into those, he said, staring at the pair of feet that was all that remained of Zabuza while the Oni Juan withdrew. Naruto sighed and turned around. Hi, Mom. And with that, he passed out. That was the first time you used the Oni Juan intentionally, wasn't it? Asked a rumbling voice from behind him as Naruto regained consciousness, floating around in foul-smelling water. Kyubi. Naruto asked without opening his eyes. Am I here again? Yep. Kyubi said, making Naruto sigh as he opened his eyes and got up. So, is there any way to get rid of this smell? Kyubi shrugged. It's your mind, Kit. I guess you'll just have to think about something. I don't know. Naruto closed his eyes and thought about the luscious green forest just outside Konoha, only with a huge lake in the middle of it. When Kyubi gasped, he knew he'd succeeded. Naruto opened his eyes and saw no cage, only Kyubi with a collar around its end. Oh, my god, Kyubi said, staring at the lake. I have to take a bath. Naruto could only stare wide-eyed as the Kyubi started running towards the lake, shrinking as it did. It shrunk until it was the size of a human before getting up on 2 legs like a humanoid. The fur dropped to reveal one of the most beautiful women Naruto had ever seen. She was as tall as Naruto with a D cup, long flowing orange hair and stead orange eyes. There was one thing that bothered Naruto. She was Kyubi? He asked just as she was about to dive in. No, Kyubi said with a smile. When I'm in this form, I'm known as Megami. Naruto pinched his nose and closed his eyes. You do know that you're N, right? I'm always N. Clothes are so constricting, Megami said and walked over to Naruto with a smirk on her face. Are you feeling uncomfortable, Naruto-kun? No. Of course not. Why would I feel uncomfortable staring at an 1,000-year-old demon? Naruto asked in a tone that was deep with sarcasm. So you admit to staring at me? Megami asked with a grin making Naruto's eye twitch. Just go take a bath, Naruto said with a glare. You stink of sewage water. What? How can you say that? Don't you know how to be a gentleman? Kyuubi shouted, sending Naruto a heated glare. I'm just stating the truth, Naruto said as he took off his coat. In fact, I stink too, and with that, he jumped into the water. Bastard. He didn't even apologize, Kyuubi muttered before she too jumped into the lake. What do you think? Misao asked as she and Kushina sat in their house, staring at the unconscious Naruto. Could he be faking it? I mean, didn't the council tell you that he'd SD? Kushina sighed. I've already sent a messenger hawk to Konoha, asking Sarutobi if Naruto really is S. For now, we wait. Misao searched through Naruto's pockets and found 18 dice and 3 decks of cards with the Konoha emblem on them. Hey, look at this, she said and held up another deck of cards, this one with a large L mark in the middle. Let's see what else is in here. Misao, he's a shinobi. If he finds out that you've gone through his stuff, he could easily KO you. Kushina shouted while Misao waved her off. Come on, Car-san. If he wanted us S, he wouldn't have gone through so much trouble saving us, would he? She asked as she took out a scroll and opened it. Hey, Car-san, what's this? Kushina grabbed the scroll and examined it. These are blood seals. Wait, cards, she read on one seal. Dice, sake. He's a gambling alcoholic. I'm not a certified alcoholic yet, Naruto said with a grin as he suddenly woke up. But I'm close. Kushina and Misao sweet-dropped. Who are you? Kushina asked after regaining her composure. I'm Senju Uzumaki Namikaze Naruto, Konoha's card shark, descendant of Shodai-sama and Nadaime-sama, grandson of Tsunade of the Sannin and Jiraiya of the Sannin and Yoran the Yondaime's son. Naruto said simply while Kushina just stared. That's impossible. My son SD on the day of the Kyuubi attack. I can assure you that I am very much alive, Naruto said with a grin as he took back everything they'd taken out of his pockets. But what makes you think that I was S? The council told me, Kushina said making Naruto narrow his eyes with a growl. I should unleash, cap on their asses. Or maybe blackjack. Cap, blackjack, Misao asked with a raised eyebrow. Who are they? They're my summons, Naruto said with a smile. I would summon, cap, but I don't have enough chakra for it yet. Just then, a messenger hawk came flying in through the window and landed on Kushina's shoulder. She removed the scroll from its back and opened it. Dear Kushina, I'm glad to know that you're alive and well. I'm afraid Sarutobi-sensei isn't Hokage anymore. I've taken the position of God I'm Hokage. As for Naruto, it's true. He is alive and has been for the last 15 years. Don't even think about yelling at me when you come to Konoha. I had no idea he was alive either. Jiraiya knew, but he couldn't find you, no one could. Naruto went to find you as soon as he heard where you were. Please come back to Konoha. We can talk more here. Senju Tsunade, God I'm Hokage. Kushina stared at the letter, then at Naruto, then at the letter again, then she burst into tears before enveloping him in a bone-crushing hug. Naruto gasped. Gar, muscles, sore, chakra, low, back, breaking, air supply, almost empty. He managed to wheeze out making his mother release him, letting him let out a sigh of relief, before getting enveloped by another bone-crushing hug, courtesy of his sister. Pain was all he could say as he literally felt 3 ribs snap. Why wasn't she this strong when she met HR? It was an hour of pain coup. I don't know what to say, Kushina said staring at the floor with shame. I'm sorry that I didn't check for myself when I heard you was S. Exactly how did I S according to those imaginative old farts? Naruto asked rubbing his sore ribcage after being released by his sister. They said that the sealing went wrong. That your body couldn't handle the stress of having that much chakra sealed in you. I'm gonna K them. No you're not, Naruto said simply as he stood up. Though you are coming with me to Konoha, you're not gonna K them, Kingdom would make you a criminal, and I don't want my newly found mother to turn into a fugitive, he said and took out a soldier pill to recover a large amount of chakra. This should be enough to summon. 2 hours later, Kushina and Misao were all packed up and ready to go. All right, Naruto said and bit his thumb before forming a couple of hand seals. I hope I've recovered enough chakra for this. Kuchio's no jutsu. He called and slammed his palm into the ground. There was a giant explosion of smoke making Misao and Kushina cover their eyes. When they opened them again, they noticed that they were standing on a giant panda wearing a black vest, black bandana and spiked braces. He had a wakizashi strapped to his back and a baseball bat hanging from a black leather belt around his waist. On the back of the vest was the kanji for house. The really strange thing, at least to Misao, was that the panda was 660 feet tall. Yo, Naruto. Hisashiburi. The panda shouted with a grin eyeing the panting Naruto. Yeah, Naruto said with an identical grin. Hey, Blackjack. I want you to meet my mom, Kushina and my sister, Misao. Guys, this is Blackjack. Pleased to meet you both. Blackjack said with a lazy wave. So, why summon me? I don't see an all-powerful super opponent nearby, he said looking over the landscape. Well, I know you're gonna be pissed about this, but we need a ride to Konoha. Blackjack sighed. I see. Well, I'll do it, but only because you got Cap to go ballistic on Kamo. You should have seen him when he got home. I've never seen an arm bend the way Kamo's did, he said with a hearty laugh. Well, hang on. Blackjack grinned as he started running through the landscape, decimating the forest as he did. Halfway to Konoha, Blackjack did something he'd never done before. He tripped and fell, hitting the ground with a crash. Kushina and Misao held onto the panda for dear life while Naruto just sighed, having had enough experience of a drunk Bakuchiuchi falling to know how to balance himself. Blackjack muttered with a groan. That's never happened before. Naruto sighed. Blackjack, are you drunk? No. The panda shouted as he got up. I can't be. I didn't drink that much, only a bottle of sake. That's a lot, Blackjack. Especially for a lightweight like yourself. Just walk the rest of the way. All right. Blackjack sighed with a sigh and solemnly walked the rest of the way to Konoha with a sighing Naruto and two sweet-dropping women on his head. Tsunade sat in her office, enjoying some well-earned sake when a loud crash was heard, causing a minor earthquake. She looked out just in time to duck for 3 incoming individuals that flew through her window, nearly giving her a heart attack. What the hell? She shouted as she gazed upon the 3 figures, 1 male and 2 females, on the floor. Naruto. Naruto got up with a growl as he held his aching head. Damn Blackjack, I told him not to run, he muttered and looked up. Yo, Barchar, was all he could say before getting socked in the mouth by a pissed-off Tsunade. Hey, brat, what are you thinking, crashing through my window like that? And to top it off, you're getting up like nothing happened. Blue Chihuahua, the dazed Naruto said from his hole in the wall making Tsunade sweet drop. I've never heard of a blue Chihuahua before. Kushina said as she got up next to Tsunade who stared at her for a moment before gasping. Kushina. She shouted and hugged the slightly terrified woman. It's so good to see you again. Likewise. Kushina said with a grin and gestured for Misao who was just getting up. This is your granddaughter, Misao. The poor girl was enveloped in a death hug as well. Now, Naruto, Tsunade said turning to the hole in the wall, only to find that the blonde gambler was no longer there. He was sitting behind the desk chugging down the rest of her precious sake. Once he'd swallowed the last drop, he stood up. All right, he said with a sigh. I'm ready to go meet my fiancés, and with that, he disappeared in a swirl of cards. Tsunade stared at the spot where he'd once been. My sake, she said making the other 2 sweet drop. Anno, Tsunade, Kushina said waving her hand in front of the frozen Hokage. She could literally see the fuse in the blonde's head getting burned out. Here comes the explosion. Naruto. Naruto sat in his apartment with Anko and Mai silently staring at him. No, Naruto said making the 2 raise an eyebrow. No, Anko asked. What do you mean no? I'm not agreeing to the whips again. Naruto said with a glare making Anko pout. Oh, come on, Mai-chan has never tried it before. No, hot candle wax. No, Anko put a hand on her chin. Okay, how about whips, chains and hot candle wax? Mai cut in with a grin making Naruto stare at her. How am I gonna survive this? He thought as he unsealed a bottle of sake from a scroll and started chugging it down. The next day, Naruto walked out of the bedroom as quietly as possible and put his clothes on before getting ready to leave when a knock was heard on the door. He opened it to reveal Kurenai standing outside the apartment with a paper bag in her hand. "Oh, good morning, Naruto-san," she said and held up the bag. "I'm here to deliver dango for Anko." Naruto stared at her, then at the bag, then at her again. He walked up to her and opened the bag, taking out a stick of dango and gesturing for her to go in with his head before walking out of the apartment, chewing on the dango and muttering something about what sounded like whips and whacks, wincing as he did. Kurenai walked inside, staring at Naruto's retreating figure with a raised eyebrow. "Oi!" Kurenai shouted as she closed the door. "Dango delivery." Anko came out of the bedroom, wearing nothing but a pair of black silk thongs. Kurenai, who was used to seeing Anko like this, didn't even blush out of embarrassment. "Oh, where's Naruto-kun?" Anko asked, looking around the apartment. "He left," Kurenai said as she handed over the dango bag. He muttered something about whips and whacks. "Anko, what did you put that poor soul through yesterday?" Anko smirked. "Oh, wouldn't you like to know?" Anko. "Oh, we were just sealing the deal, unofficially making me and Mai-chan in their Naruto's fiancés." Fiancés. Kurenai shouted in shock. Can he really have two? Well, he's obligated to have three. It's all because of the clan resurrection law. I've seen the way you've been looking at him, Kurenai-chan. You want in? Anko asked with a playful grin, making Kurenai blush. "Three of you are to blame," Naruto said, laying on the Hokage monument with the dango stick in his mouth. "If the three of you had managed to keep the clan populated for a longer amount of time, I wouldn't be laying here with whip marks covering my back, or burn marks on my gut," he muttered with a sigh. A chuckle was heard from behind him. "Got into a fight last night, brat?" Jiraiya asked as he walked up to the half-S blonde with Kushina and Misao behind him, not that Naruto noticed it. No, it was all Anko's and Mai's idea. Who would get into S&M anyway? The blonde asked, making Jiraiya chuckle while Kushina and Misao blushed from embarrassment. "By the way, brat, your mother and sister is here," Jiraiya said, trying to shock the boy, but to no avail. "What? You're not expecting me to be embarrassed, are you? If I don't get embarrassed from the things Anko-chan might do in public, I'm not embarrassed of talking about my private life in front of my mom and sister." "Sounds like you had a really rough night," Jiraiya said with a grin. "Did you know that ninjas sell Orochimaru voodoo dolls and thick silver chains?" Naruto asked with a raised eyebrow. "No. Well, they do," Naruto said as he sat up. "But I'm worried, Gigi." "Worried?" Kushina asked as she and Misao sat down next to him. "About what?" "I don't know," Naruto said with a sigh. "I just have a feeling that something big is about to go down." Meanwhile, in Oto, "Orochimaru-sama, are you okay?" Yakushi Kabuto asked the snake Sanin, who was sitting in his bed with a big headache. "Damn it, I thought selling those dolls would just make a good profit. I never expected anyone to actually be able to do a voodoo ritual." Orochimaru growled. "Somebody stuck me in the balls as well." "But, if someone struck you there, why are you massaging your head?" Kabuto asked. "Because it seemed that whoever had performed the ritual was pouncing on my head, my entire body, in fact, but most of the force hit my head. It pounced at me over and over again in a steady rhythm," Orochimaru said, and slowed down when realization dawned upon him. "Kabuto, you don't think." "Think what, Orochimaru-sama?" "Oh my god, one of my cute and fuzzy little dolls have been violated." "No, they didn't use it as a toy, ULS. It was laying between Anko and the bed. Back in Konoha. Did anybody else hear a wail of horror?" Naruto asked as he looked around. "Yeah, I think I heard something," Jiraiya said, looking up in the sky. It actually sounded a bit like Orochimaru, but he's never sounded that much like a little girl before. "But anyway, Naruto, you need to tell me how your life's been," Kushina said with a smile on her face. "I can tell you what my life's been like from age 5. Naruto said, looking a little gloom. "I refuse to tell you anything that happened before that. But now," he said, and took out a deck of cards before looking at Jiraiya. "Care to play?" "What's the wager?" Jiraiya asked, making Naruto grin. "I'll bet this," the boy said, and took a labeled, "Snow's Finest Sake." Jiraiya stared at the scroll for a while before sitting down. Alright, and if you win, I'll let you sign the Toad contract. I didn't think you could have two summons. You can. It's rare, but you can. The summons need to be on good foot with each other, and since Bunter told me that he and Bakuchuchi are old drinking bus, you can sign it as well. All you need is two summoning tattoos. Now, shuffle up and deal, brat. Can I join? Kushina asked and took out her wallet. I can't really bet any ninja things, since I left all of those in the Namikaze compound. But I do have money. Is 500 enough? She asked as she sat down. Yeah, it's a little low, but I don't want to rob you of all your money. Naruto said with a grin and turned to his sister. Miss Ao, you wanna join in? No thanks. I'm not any good at poker. Alright then. Get ready to lose. Naruto said as he shuffled the cards. 20 minutes later, Naruto was still sitting in front of the Sannin and his mother, both who were feeling more and more desperate for every passing second, when, Cap showed up. Oh, Cap. Naruto said with a grin. Did you bring it? Yep. The polar bear said with a grin and tossed Naruto a scroll. You have no idea how hard it was for me to get all the blood off it. All that was left of that guy was his feet. What are you two talking about? Jiraiya asked as he lost yet another hand to Naruto. You'll see after the game. Naruto said calmly as Kushina picked up the cards and shuffled them. I'll also take you to the Namikaze compound after the game. Kushina said with a smile. No matter what you say, you're going to live there. It's more like a small village than a compound. What? It's bigger than the Uchiha compound? Naruto asked, making Kushina grin. A lot bigger. Another 20 minutes later, Naruto stood deep inside the forest on top of the Hokage monument where the Namikaze compound was located with Miss Ao, who was in awe over the sheer size of the gate. It was around 40 feet tall, Jiraiya, who was sulking because he didn't get any sake, and Kushina, who was sulking because she lost most of her money, though a lot more was in her account. It still stings to lose that much. Suddenly, Naruto shuddered. What's wrong, Ni-san? Miss Ao asked. I just thought of something. Naruto said and turned to Jiraiya. What's Anko gonna say when she finds out that I've used my Oni Juan? He asked, making Jiraiya pale. Oh, boy, Naruto said with a sigh before suddenly smiling. Well, let's go in. Kushina was right. It was more like a small village than a compound. It looked like the Uchiha compound, only it had a huge, 5-story building in the center. That's your new house, Kushina said, pointing at the huge building. What? Naruto asked, not really believing what he was seeing. That house is the house of the clan head. You're the clan head. It's yours. Naruto did the only thing he could think of. He passed out. A mansion. Anko shouted when Naruto briefed her on the situation. We're gonna live in a mansion. Pretty much, yeah, Naruto said with a nod, casually chewing on a dango stick. I've already told Mai. She did the same thing as I did when I heard about it. What? Passed out? Oh, Anko said and grinned. We must celebrate. I have the Orochimaru doll ready to be beaten. Oh, no. Naruto groaned. Don't worry, Naruto-kun. We're not gonna use it in bed again. I actually felt kinda weird having that doll staring at me. So, Anko said and took out the doll. Let's bring on the knives. In Oto. Oh my god. The pain. Orochimaru shrieked as he writhed in pain. Who would actually stick something there? Not even I'm that evil. Konoha. Anko was having fun jamming her kunai into the doll's ass when a scream was heard. Hey, that's the second time today that I've heard that scream. Naruto said, staring at the doll. Do you think it's working? Anko stared at the doll as she removed the kunai from its ass. I don't know. Let's see, she said and rammed it into the place where its C would have been, if it had one. The scream was heard again, this time more high-pitched than last time. Anko grinned and raised the kunai again. Oto. My screaming could probably be heard in Konoha. They'll know it's working. Now, Orochi. Take it easy. No matter what the pain, don't scream. Konoha. Anko rammed the kunai into the doll again, only this time, there was no scream. She pouted. Damn. I was sure it was working. Oto. Thank God. It stopped. Konoha. By the way, Anko. When I went to see my mom, Zabuza showed up with his little helpers again. Naruto said as he got ready for the explosion. Oh yeah. Well, did you K him? Yeah, I did, Naruto said with a nod and gulped. But after the first helper, I was running low on chakra and I had to use a Juan. He finished as fast as possible. He looked over at Anko to see her frozen on the spot. You used the Oni Juan? She asked as she slowly turned to look at him. Well, yeah, I mean, I was low on chakra and my mom and sister was gonna I had to use it. It's not like anything can happen, anyway. The only thing it does is, well, it makes me slightly more sadistic and more tolerant to pain, but that's all. As you know, Orochimaru's soul is gone. Anko was just about to pounce on the blonde when she heard what the seal did. More tolerant to pain, you say? She asked with a grin that made Naruto pale slightly. Oh, no. Oh, yeah, X. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.